Guten Tag, Simon from simonwoods.com here, and second video to celebrate German Riesling Week, which takes place 23rd to 31st of July 2011. In the first one, I had 4 wines, all dry wines. These ones here, these 4, are from, should be on the slightly sweeter side. How do you tell from the label whether it's going to be dry or sweet or what? Well, Germany does give you a few pointers towards it. The most obvious one being the word dry. If it doesn't say dry on, you'll see some of these labels here, it does say dry there, but some of them say the word trocken. And if they don't say either of those, it doesn't necessarily mean that the wine isn't going to be dry, but one way of finding out, compare these 2 labels. If you see they're both from the same vineyard, but one of them, it doesn't say on the front label, it says on the back label the alcohol level. So you'll see this one here, it says 8.5%, and on the other one, from the back label, 12.5%. So quite a difference in alcohol level. And what's happened is the one that's only 8.5%, they've stopped the fermentation and left some what they call residual sugar, unfermented sugar in the wine, which gives it the sweetness. So hopefully these will all be as delicious as the first lot were, because I really enjoyed doing those. First one off, Dr. Loosen, and this is what they call just their basic one, Dr. L, Loosen Brothers 2010 Riesling. Well, it's a very young wine, this, and it's still got some of the sulfur dioxide that the winemakers will be putting into the bottle prior to bottling, with a screw cap in particular that hangs around a bit longer than it does with a cork. So I get that character. What it's going to do is it's going to keep it fresher for longer, but it does sort of tend to dominate young wines. But shake it enough and that blows off, and then you get this rich earthiness. It's strange because Ernie Loosen, who's the guy in the maestro here, he's I think he certainly gave technical advice to Johannes Leitz, who made the last wine in the previous video, and I was commenting there about this use of sulfur dioxide, but also there was this rich earthiness that was coming through, and I get that same sort of character here. I can't smell too much of the fruitiness. I think it's going to come out of its shell, so I think I'm going to give it a little bit more of an agitate and get beyond that, yeah, that slightly red earthiness. And here it comes. Here come the apples. Here comes the bits of citrus. Funny, it feels like it's going to be quite a rich wine, and rich despite the 8.5% alcohol. And what I mean by rich, I mean it's going to have a richness of flavour. Doesn't mean it's going to be extremely full-bodied, but it's going to be light to medium-bodied, but full in flavour, which is how I like wines. Much prefer things like that to full-bodied, medium-flavoured or less. Yeah, tense. Yeah, bowstring-like apple citrus, and it's on the ripe red apple type of apple, and on the citrus edge it's more in the orangey than the slightly more butter-clenching grapefruit spectrum. Tasty. And very good value, this. I can't remember how, it's about £7 or something like that. I'll probably find out it's 28 quid now, but I don't think it's anywhere near that. So for German people just getting to grips with German Riesling, excellent introduction. Yes, it is off dry, but because of this zesty acidity, you don't really notice it. Think about that tension on your pancakes on pancake day, sweet and sour. You notice, if you get the balance right between the sugar and the lemon juice on your pancake, you don't notice whether it's sweet or acidic. It's just a nice combination, and that's a delicious combination, which will only get better as summer progresses. Next one, Schloss from Thomas Haag. I think there's quite a few Haags involved in German wine, and I don't think they're related. Probably they were once upon a time, but hey, Brandebourghofer Riesling Kabinett, 8.5% alcohol, and like the Loosen, it's from the Mosel. Okay, so the first one was 2010. This and the 2 after it are 2009. So this one should be a bit more developed and accessible. But it isn't. There's a wine producer in this region called J.J. Prum, and his Rieslings are notorious when you smell them when they're young and you think, well, what's going on here? And then you taste them when they're like 5 years old and suddenly 10, 20, even 30 years old, and they've aged magnificently. What I'm getting here is what I call a pondy minerality. There's some strange sulfur compounds going on here. There is a character that, to be honest, it smells difficult, and I know that I'd stick that under the nose of some people and they go, ugh. But it's knowing the progress of wines like this. This is a sort of wine, it's a Friday now. I think if I stuck the cork back in here and tried it on Monday, that pondy minerality would have taken, the good bits would have stayed in the wine, that sulphury edge would have blown off, and the wine will hopefully be absolutely fabulous. I'm trying to post this video in the next day or so, so it's only going to get a short while to develop. But what I'll do is when I post it, when I put it on my website, I'll keep you up to date with how it's getting on. But at the moment, it smells difficult, and yeah, it smells like a wine that that it will not be for everybody. But I haven't tasted it yet. And there's this exquisite mineral tension in there. Get beyond that pondiness, and yeah, there's this lovely tension between the slate and the fruit. It's got this core of really rich, ripe, yeah, things like ripe fruit with acidity, if you know what I mean. Things like nectarines rather than peaches, and oranges rather than anything going into that melon or tropical spectrum. There's a juiciness about it, there's a life and a vibrancy, and there's this richness, and it just feels like a wine that, yeah, you're seeing a shadow of what it's going to be. I think 5 years from now that's going to be absolutely delicious. Not that it's not nice now, but it's a bit difficult to understand. It's like you have to scrabble to find the true essence of the wine. Yeah, it's funny. It's there's still that character coming through. I will report back. Let's see how we get on with RobertThurgau in the Rheingau, Riesling Kabinett. Again, oh, there's 8%. 8%, perfect wines for summer, and well, even perfect wines for winter. Wines like this, which have got acidity and sweetness, are really good for spicy food, because the sweetness calms down some of the heat in the chilly heat, and the acidity keeps your mouth fresh. And there's this lovely juicy fruit as well. This smells very, very nice. It's got this like mandarin and nectarine character. It feels like it's going to be the most upright of them, and the finest boned. It's like the one with the highest cheekbones. It feels like it's going to be svelte and yeah, panther-like. It feels like it's going to be fresh, it's going to be lively, but it's going to have this wealth of richnesses, and it's going to be one of those that just keeps going on and on and on and on. Oh, well, I billed it as being, it was going to be quite good. It's even better than I thought it was going to be. There's just this lovely, confident lightness about it. It's just like finely poised, and it's got this, the mix of the citrus and the slightly more exotic fruits in there. And then it's got this earthy mineral undercurrent. I'll probably say that a bit too much as well, but it's got this what I call life beyond fruit, lovely zestiness. There's a bit of yeah, a bit of orange peel in there as well as the flesh of citrus fruit, and it just leaves your mouth completely satisfied. Yes, it is off dry, but because of that acidity, because of that freshness, because of those lovely flavours, it doesn't come across as a sweet wine. It just comes across as something that is yeah, feline. Oh, delicious. Okie doke. Let's see if this one's slightly sweeter. We're in Mühlenhof Erdner Treppken Riesling Auslese, back in the Mosel now. So the Kabinett is the base level of the Prädikats, then it goes Spätlese, Auslese. So this is the same alcohol level roughly as the previous three, but it should be quite a bit sweeter. We shall see. Interesting this, because I said that the second one along needed time to come out of its shell. This feels like another one that needs to come out of its shell. Feels like it's a bit coiled and curled up. Doesn't have any of that awkward pondiness that the number 2 had. But this one, yes, if you delve and you whirl it round a bit, suddenly these slightly exotic characters come out, and you can tell the fruit's quite a bit riper than it has been in the ones so far. So you're getting more on the mango, the pineapple. If the citrus there, it's very ripe, and it's almost going into that crystallised fruit rather than fresh fruit. But again, it feels desperately young. Yeah, it's young, and so how that comes across, you're getting this rich fruit, and you're getting the sweetness, and it's the weird thing about wines like this is as they get older, they seem to get less sweet. People talk about like the acidity eating the sugar. It doesn't actually work like that. The residual sugar remains the same, but the balance of the wine changes. So at the moment, yes, you've got this quite voluptuous fruit, and it really is quite exotic, creamy, almost like these peaches, pineapples, mangoes, that type of character, pawpaw, and the acidity does come through, and there's also the mineral notes, but the sweetness is maybe just a little bit prominent at the moment, but as I say, it is desperately young, and I think this is sort of like 5 years, maybe open a bottle in 2 or 3 years, check it, and then I wouldn't be surprised if it was still going strong 5, 10, even longer. Tasty. I'm going to have another taste actually. And as with the Schloss Lisa, I'm going to keep an eye on that, and hopefully there'll be enough chance to get something on the video about how I feel before I post it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this one came out of its shell and the pondiness disappeared, and this one, the sweetness was almost swallowed up by the rest of the wine. It's been a really good set of 4. I mean, for me, the vile is doesn't live up to its name. It's anything but vile. It's absolutely delicious. But as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if the other two, the two either side of it, crept up. And the Loosen was a really nice start and great introduction to German wine. Hey, see you soon.